Well, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Good evening from Zhongshan, China. It is Sunday night here at about a little after 11 o'clock. Try to get on. So I don't know what time that is in America. I think it might be, what time is it in America right now? 8 a.m. in Pacific Coast? I haven't called my mother yet, so I want her to sleep in. So maybe after this live stream, I'll give her a call. But if I don't give her a call tonight, then I'll call her in the morning and wish her a happy Mother's Day. I do miss my mother a lot, and I hope that she's feeling better. Um, she's been under the weather a little bit. No, she doesn't have COVID-19, but you know, she's been a little ill lately. So I hope that she's doing much better, and I will give her a call soon. So, in honor of my mother, I am drinking scotch. Just one scotch tonight. My mother, she doesn't drink anymore, obviously, but when she did, her favorite drink was shivas and water. She loves shivas. So I don't have shivas. I have an oban. I think this oban to drink, and I don't like diluting it with water. I just drink it straight, sometimes on the rocks, but that's what I have here today. Mm. But to all the mothers out there, thank you for being mothers. And to my mother, happy Mother's Day. And I hope to talk to you soon. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on in my world. I only did one video, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working. I've been working very hard in the last week. The video that I put out got a really good reception. I hope it was positive vibes, and I think everyone, especially back home in America, could use some positive vibes these days. Uh, but I also, over the weekend, went to Guangzhou, and I was a little not scared, but I didn't know if I should have gone to Guangzhou or not because, as you all know, you need a health certificate on your phone to go places, and Guangzhou's kind of been in and out of the news with asymptomatic cases and things like this. And I was going to the center of town, and I just needed to get out of Dodge for a little while. So I went up there and I explored a little bit. I went for a little urban hike and stayed at a very interesting hotel. So I did a lot of filming, and over the next few days, I will be putting out those videos for the week, as well as another one I did here in town of the updates to Jinzhong Reservoir here in Zhongshan. So be on the lookout for those. Guangzhou was an interesting experience. I drove. The hotel I stayed at was very inexpensive because I'm pinching my pennies right now. And then, but the parking my car costs almost as much as the hotel itself. Yeah, that's Guangzhou for you. But I enjoy driving in the city of Guangzhou. It's a very interesting city to drive in because many of if you don't, even if you can read Chinese, it's still confusing as all hell. So you have to use the Apple Maps or Baidu Maps and get directions because it's so confusing with all the elevated highways and everything going everywhere. It's wonderful experience to drive through as long as there's not a lot of traffic because you're weaving these it's like flying through the buildings. Guangzhou's just amazing. And then they come across near Bayun Mountain and some of the parks. You have these beautiful parkways that are just incredible. So I hope maybe do a couple of videos of driving in Guangzhou very shortly. Also, this week, I'll be filming a Chinese wedding. I'll be going to a wedding in the middle of the week. I know weddings aren't a thing right now in America because of social distancing. It'll be interesting to see how this wedding is because it's a lot of people going. It's going to be a big party, and it's going to be at a giant restaurant. So as soon as we're eating, we won't have our masks on, but it'll be a large group of people all congregating together, which is an odd thing to experience when you're here in China because the rest of the world is kind of running away from that. Where in China, we're starting to embrace all of this, social gathering again. And I've got a couple articles when I get to the news talk about it. And then this weekend, I have another hiking trip. I'm going to go explore a very beautiful mountain not far from here, about an hour's drive, uh, and a couple of temples that I've always wanted to explore, but it's so difficult to get to these places if you don't have a car. It's 3-4 hours on the public bus, and some of these places don't have have train service. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and a couple other things. I'll be going down to um, Zhuhai as well. I'm going to go to the beach down there in the next couple of weeks before I get, because I'm still teaching online. By the way, that's another thing. The students were supposed to come back tomorrow, some of the students, and the school was gearing up for it. But right now, I am the only one on this campus tonight, Sunday night. So no students, not even any teachers. I think there might be one teacher here, but everyone else is gone. So I don't think the students will be here tomorrow, which was news to me. I don't know what happened. They're still preparing for it. They've, during the week the teachers are all here getting classrooms ready and getting there. And I'm still teaching. There's a lot of unanswered questions for myself and the administration. So I have to get some answers tomorrow. But I'm still working my tail off when it comes to this online class stuff. Couple more weeks to go. I'm told my end of the term will end June 18th, but that might change. So we will see, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there from different sources regarding the schools here. Nicholas, thank you again for your continued support. Nicholas, thank you for joining me. Zeline, is that right? Zeline, are you attending your friend's wedding? Or what? Yes, I am attending my friend's wedding. It's a former colleague of mine in Xiaolan, and I'm looking forward to it because many of my old friends in Xiaolan will be there. It'd be great to. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen anybody in months, so it'll be wonderful to see everybody and catch up. Most of these people are teachers, and most of them have not been working. A few of them teaching online, of course, but. We've all been away from each other for months now. I heard there's some new cases in China of the virus. Yes, there are. They're mostly congregating in the north. Harbin has gotten hit really hard. But remember, the response isn't the whole country needs to lock down. It's very surgical. So they find cases here, cases there. I have some numbers. We'll go through it. Even here in Guangdong, there's been some asymptomatic cases and a couple what they call the imported cases, but they catch them right away, and everyone's still on high alert here. Okay, but let's. If you don't have any questions, we can move on to the. I don't want to be on too late because it is going to be very, very late for me, and I'm exhausted. I did not sleep well at this hotel. I'll write about it, and I have a video about it. The hotel itself was very nice. It's just so loud because of so much construction going on. Everywhere, construction continues. And it's not just new builds. It's a lot of tenant improvement stuff. So a lot of the shops in the malls, the retail shops, restaurants that didn't make it, they're all being repurposed and redone. So there's a lot of capital going into the markets here for new business starts. Every day I still hear that some businesses shut down. They don't make it. A hamburger joint that I featured in my hamburger hunt, Angels and Demons, unfortunately, they had a very large space, and so the rent was very high. They had to shut down, but they're talking about reopening in another location. So the cards are still falling into place. As far as the factories go, the factories still have no orders. It's very difficult on the manufacturing side here. It depends. Some factories are doing very well. It depends on what the components that they're making and what market they're making it for. But other factories have no orders and are pretty much shut down still. Retail seems to be slowly coming on. The restaurant scene is being rebuilt. I was at the mall today at the coffee shop and just doing some work, and the mall was completely packed. There was no parking. Everyone's out for Mother's Day, enjoying Mother's Day dinner. Everyone's still wearing a mask. Everyone's social distancing as much as possible, except for in the elevators. The elevators are packed with people. Okay, what do we got here? We got Constantine. Greetings from Lijiang. Love to go to Lijiang. Sam, do Chinese still do social distancing? Um, it dep- yes and no. They don't go out as much, it seems, but when they do go out, the restaurants, people sit far apart from one another. But more and more, everyone still wears a mask and everyone's still conscious of being around other people. But more and more people are getting more comfortable with the situation. I see fewer people. Um, if you put the mask on, like I was in the park and people were just taking the mask off, security would come over, hey, put your mask back on. They put it on real quick, and a couple minutes later, they take it off again. Or a lot of them were just wearing it underneath their chin because it is really, really hot here. I mean, it's right now it's boiling. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I only have one AC unit that works, and it's not good enough for the entire apartment, so I have fans going everywhere. But again, I want to keep this live stream because I don't know if the connection is going to be very good. Even though I'm the only one on the campus, the connection might not be very good. And if it blocks off, then I won't have access to the chat. And that's something I want to avoid as much as I can. Students are coming back to your college in a week. I thought they were supposed to be back tomorrow. Many of the classes all over town have started already. I have friends of mine who have already started. They've all been tested. And so when I came back from Guangzhou today, I was expecting to see students and teachers getting ready for classes tomorrow, but the place is empty, and I don't know why. And the administration office is closed, and I'm not going to bother my boss on Mother's Day. So we'll find out what happened tomorrow. I don't know. Are you being treated with suspicion? Not really. Most people really treat me nicely everywhere I go. With I was in Guangzhou. I was at a park. I was on this elevated walkway, and they had security checks along the way. And for the most part, they, hey, welcome, good to see you. Where you from? You know, very happy. And then on one check, there was one security guard that just wanted to ask, you know, where I'm from, how long I've been here. Are you sure you didn't go back to America? You know, he was very professional, but he was just double checking because I have this face. And he said, okay, thank you very much. And that was the extent of it. Checking into the hotel was it's always a pain in the neck because of this, though. There's health. You have to sign up. Each city has its own like little health certificate that you have to sign up for. The one in Guangzhou is actually very easy to sign up. We walk you through it. The person at the hotel walked me through it. Then you have your other paperwork. Then you have to do the China Mobile, where it scans your device and say, where's your device been? Basically, where have you been in the last couple of weeks? Then a health declaration form that you have to fill out, and that's all in Chinese, and so they have to walk you through that. So checking into other hotels might be difficult, but checking into hotels that have a good support system for foreigners, and I go through Trip.com, and almost all the hotels on Trip.com have that support system. If the hotel doesn't, then Trip.com has it. So I've never had a problem checking into any hotels here, and it's just you just jump through a couple more hoops, but you eventually get it, you know. And I feel like everyone's still on guard. By the way, when I was in Guangzhou, I was at Beijing-Lu, which is like the center of town. It's a central area of Guangzhou. I was the only foreigner. I did not see another foreigner there. Walking around, I did see a few Africans. There's a big African community there. But they were on their phone and doing business, and so I didn't get a chance to talk with anybody. But in the Beijing Road shopping district, the pedestrian street and everything where I was staying, it was just me. I was all alone. And I'd been on this trip alone. I didn't take anyone with me. So I ate in the restaurant alone. I walked around alone. I had some good alone time, which I think a lot of us need sometimes, you know. That burger place looked really nice place to eat. It was a really nice place to eat, but it just, you know, business is not the greatest. And yeah, I'm surprised they lasted as long as they did, to be honest. Anyways, cheers, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Let's move on to the news, shall we? Okay, so before we go on to the news, I need to do some shameless self-promotion real quick. Okay, so let's do that. all last week I filmed it a month ago when I went to Dongguan, but all last week was, of course, China podcast. And from Monday to Friday, Monday through Thursday, they had little segments where I talked about hotels. I talked about being locked up on my college campus, which many of you guys know. And then on Friday, they released the full hour and a half. And so I invite you guys to go to, of course, China YouTube channel. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and support these guys. This is Ziv and Fernando from China Teacher Brand. They're putting a lot of work in this, and over the next couple of weeks, they've got some amazing guests lined up. I don't know if I'm allowed to give it away, but some world-class interviews coming up. I mean, I'm just an English teacher, vlogger. The week before me, they had a great businessman who owned a bunch of gyms and great stories, and the comedian, and they had another Chinese influencer on the cast. But over the next couple of weeks, they've got some amazing interviews coming up. So I hope you go support these guys as much as you can. Watch my interview, and you get to know a little bit more about me. They ask some really interesting questions, and we had a good time with it. So that, I just wanted to do a shameless plug for them. One more shameless plug for myself. This is my YouTube channel. If many of you guys support me on Patreon, and I love that. Thank you very much for doing that. Again, during my regular videos, I will never ask for you to subscribe or comment or money. But in a live chat like this, I think it's okay to do that. You can support me on Patreon, but if you look up here, this little button right here, this is Buy Me a Coffee. So if you like what you see and you want to buy me a coffee, this goes straight to my PayPal account. I hope the connection is still there. I'm really nervous that the connection will go away, guys. So, anyways, you can buy me a coffee if you want and help support. Every dollar I make goes back into this channel. In addition, get my Twitter and my Facebook account there as well. Also, if you look down in the chat, you see that I have been approved for Super Chat. So if you want to send me a Super Chat, go right ahead. I will be happy to take your money. Money has been tight lately. It really has. And that's why I haven't been able to stay in nice hotels lately, honestly. I've been staying in really lower end, which is a different experience. I enjoy that too. But I'm definitely limiting my my budget is limited. Let me put it that way. Okay. So after that, in addition, here is my webpage, Walkabout Rojo. Here, I've been every couple days I'll post a new article. Most of these are based on YouTube videos that I've already done, but I expand on the topic. I go more into depth on the topic. And if you look here, something like the hotel reviews, I provide different photos. I have a system, because I'm a big hotelier guy. I love hotels. And this system will be breaking down my experience in hotels between the building, which of course is the location, facilities, amenities, and decor, the services, the staff, the food, the cleanliness, and most importantly, the experience, the comfort, uniqueness, and the value. And then it's a 100-point system of, I call it the Rojo rating, and down here is the final rating. So I'm going to do this not just for the hotels I've done in the past, but also hotels moving forward. And this might become bigger in the future. We'll see. But I hope you guys read this and support. They're no more than 1,000 words each article. It just takes me about an hour to whip these up, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to doing more of them. I don't know how to run a web page. This is just a blogger web page. It's a free web page. But I'm learning as I go, and I hope to get into the WordPress thing coming up soon. But for now, this is how I'm going to learn websites. Here I got a little bit more about me. You can learn about me a little bit more. All my contact information for all my social media, of course. But also I've become an affiliate marketer for Amazon And so this is the equipment I use. If you don't want to buy this equipment, but you want to support me and you're going to shop on Amazon anyways, go ahead and click on the link, and the cookie will hook me up over the next, I think it's 24 hours or so. So my filming equipment is all DJI, including my Teleo, but I don't fly the Teleo, so I don't promote it. And then my travel equipment is with a local travel company called Travel Aspira. They're here in Zhongshan, and I've got another couple videos coming out about them. But this is some of the bags and some of the equipment that I use when I travel. So I was a fan of this company before I became an affiliate of them, and I'm happy to promote their items. In the future, travel search at trip.com. I'm currently working on the deal right now to be a trip.com affiliate. Because all of my traveling and all of my experiences, train, car rental, airplane, hotels, everything has been through Trip.com exclusively over the last almost 4 years now. And I love them, and they've loved me, and we've been chatting and trying to make a deal. So this deal will come out hopefully soon, and we'll see how that goes. A lot of you ask about VPN. I'm currently working on that affiliate link as well. So. And then, of course, my funny little running shoes. So that's just some extra things, shameless self-promotion. Please support me if you can. I do appreciate everyone just watching my videos. Oh, let's move to the news. City in China raises threat level to high. This city, see, by the way, this is what it looks like today. Total number still about 300, down 73. And the imported cases are what they're really looking at here. I mean, obviously, foreigners are not allowed in. So all of these imported cases are Chinese people coming back into China, coming home from abroad. And they're being caught at the port of entry, and immediately sent to isolation. So the imported cases, they're really keeping tabs on that as much as they can. But a couple of places like in Harbin, it has started to get a little out of control here and there. So they're watching it very, very closely. Moving down. Okay, all these numbers, world numbers and stuff. Okay. Okay, so this is Xiaolan city in northeast China's Jilin province has raised its COVID-19 threat level to medium or high after 11 new domestic cases were confirmed on Saturday, according to provincial authorities. So this is in the northern part of China, not where I'm at. Every now and then they, over the night of a day or two, they might come across what they call an asymptomatic case or something. So the Chinese reported 14 new cases on Saturday, 12 of which were domestic and 2 imported. No new deaths, according to China's National Health Commission, and 20 new asymptomatic patients. So here it is, the cumulative number of imported cases on the Chinese mainland continues to rise, but rises very, very slowly because they are watching it very, very closely. Number of new imported cases, let me see there. And current COVID-19 cases in the Chinese mainland trending downward. So, there you go. The Beijing Garden Expo is scheduled to reopen to the public on May 12th with daily cap of 1,000 visitors. This was an interesting part of the news here. 1,500 students repatriated. From April 11th to May 2nd, China arranged 8 chartered flights to repatriate 1,500 juvenile Chinese students stranded in the U.S. because of coronavirus pandemic. Chinese embassy in the U.S. will continue to monitor to determine how many students are seeking to return to China. This is where most of the imported cases are coming from the students. Okay. Nicholas, thank you for the plug, brother. I appreciate the plug on my website. Again, it's not a carbon copy of the videos. It's their blog posts, and a lot of the information will be from the videos or stuff. But basically, I do a lot of writing. So I just jot down my ideas in this little notebook here. I just scribble things on the... and I enjoy writing, and I just sit at a coffee shop, have a cup of coffee, and whip that out. It's a lot of fun for me, and maybe it can become something. I don't know. in the future, maybe. I mean, again, web design, web page building is something I've never done before, and I'm just starting to do it now. I'm learning it as I go. That's what Walkabout is all about. I'm learning and experiencing as I go. Is there any graduation this year, Sam? I don't know. I I thought that the students were coming back tomorrow. At least the seniors that were supposed to graduate, but nobody's here. So I honestly don't know. Hmm. Uh, Expats in China on a visa, will they have to leave when it's been 60, 90 days since their last entry? Matthew, that's a good question. Most visas were given a cursory 2 month extension, but that was like over 2 months ago. So, and getting out of China is not easy. There are very few flights. There's only one flight per week out of Guangzhou to Los Angeles. It's like on a Sunday. So getting out of China, and then when you go someplace, you're subject to quarantine. So I don't know. I'm sure the Chinese government will take into account the fact that people aren't able to travel right now. But I do know that people who were here on trying to do visa runs can't do visa runs. So many of these visas are overstayed. And a lot of people have these questions. I don't know the answers to them. So yeah, that's a great question, Matthew. I think might be on a case by case basis, but I do know that a lot of people that were here illegally, working on the wrong visa or living here on a tourist visa, renting apartments and everything, those people have now been exposed with their pants down, and they're in a lot of trouble. So legally, because you don't want to overstay your visa here. The fines are really really high, and in order to get out, you got to pay those fines, or you're detained. So it's a very serious issue if you break the visa laws here. The extensions that they provided were over 2 months ago, so I don't know what's going to happen to those who weren't able to renew their visas. I'm here on a residence permit, which is a much different thing. So for me, it's not a visa. I don't have to cross a border. The residence permit is it's that's what it is. It's a permit to be a resident within the country. Have faith in you, Paul. Just take your time with things. You get used to it. Thank you, Nicholas, for your patience. You're awesome. Here in the UK, I don't think so, Sam. Chinese here, Theodore. Thank you, Theodore. Local Chinese or overseas Chinese, Theodore. Where are you hailing from? Jamaica Funk. I loved your channel. I saw some of your videos, by the way, man. You're a very cool guy. The e-bike one I watched. My local police entry and exit station gave me a 2 month extension to June. There you go. So there you go. I think it's on a case by case basis. If you go there and explain to them, look, I can't get out of town, I can't go home, or I have a life here, I think they'll give you an extension. It's just go down and ask them. They're not busy, so I'm sure it'll be just fine. Jamaica Funk, where are you from? You're an American, right? I think you are. But you have a question about e-bikes. I've got a video coming out about e-bikes coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, the e-bike rules changed last year, but they gave everyone like a 6 month grace period. Nobody did anything. I got a couple buddies of mine that bought legal e-bikes and registered them, actually have a license plate on them, but they're the only ones I know of that have actually done that. So June 20th, I think, is the date when the e-bike issue will be hit head on, and a lot of people are scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. We will see. So Jamaica Estates, Jamaica Queens. I have been to Queens. I have a friend of mine who lives in Queens. I think it's like a Bulgarian neighborhood of Queens, and she's from Venezuela. I love that part of New York, man. It's like every couple blocks you're in a different country. So, but the only thing I know about Jamaica Queens is from that Eddie Murphy movie, Coming to America. Yeah, his girlfriend lived in Jamaica Estates. That's the only thing I know about it, dude. Cheers. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. All right. got some interesting things here. Is COVID-19 shattering dreams of studying abroad? This is the question many of my students have been asking. A lot of the students I have, they're the high school students and stuff that I used to teach, are studying to travel abroad, to study abroad. That's the whole point. And they're still friends with me. We chat a lot, and give them practice for their testing. China is the world's biggest source of international students, as the number of students studying overseas reached 662,000 in 2018, a record high. I did a couple of videos about this, how the Chinese are traveling, and then another one I did was, do Americans really understand China? And it was about how many students go to America to study, but very few Americans come to China to study. However, fears of COVID-19 infection and uncertainty about the resumption of on-site classes are now halting Chinese students' education abroad plans and affecting education agencies' lucrative business as well. Yes, this is happening. But look at this. So this is the amount, the number since 2008. Look at the growth. In 10 years, you went from about 180,000 to 662,000. I mean, that's what, 350% increase? It's insane. There's another graph in here I'll show you. Oh, how likely are you to continue your studies overseas this fall? Students already overseas, excluding those scheduled to graduate this semester. So 39% said very likely. And only 2% said not at all likely. So the demand to study overseas is still pretty high amongst the students, even with the COVID-19. I think a lot of them are feeling that it will get better, and I think that's a good attitude to have. Is, don't cancel your plans yet. You don't know what the future's gonna bring, so keep planning on going. How likely are you to cancel or delay your plans to study abroad? 39% said, they're still kind of waiting. But only 2% said, I've already canceled my plans. So that's kind of interesting to see. When you think the possibility of studying overseas, how concerned are you about the following issues? Health and well-being and personal safety. Very concerned. There's still a stigma, especially for Western countries, among Chinese students, that Western countries are very dangerous places. I try to assure them that, China is very, very safe. So compared to China, Western countries with, gun violence and drug abuse can be more dangerous, but it's not necessarily a dangerous experience everywhere that you go. I mean, you just be careful which neighborhoods you go into at night, and you'll be fine. Most of these places that these university students are going to are safe anyway. So that's something I try to convey to them, that it's not as bad as you think. There's a perception amongst the Chinese population that China is very, very, or that America is extremely dangerous and violent. And I think that's a misguided perception. So I try to explain it to them what it is. Yes, there are guns everywhere, but it's a very large country. Nobody's walking into McDonald's with a 9mm, saying, "Let me get a hamburger and French fries." That doesn't happen. Nicholas says student accommodations is going to be very competitive, and I would say for a long time I think people will get a good deal because I'm looking into moving into one. Interesting. It's going to cost me around $600 per month with everything included. What is very cheap when you add everything up? What city is that in, Nicholas? What city are you going to go study in? $600 per month is, I think, rather cheap. I'm from Southern California, though, so let me know on that. All right, next one. Chinese students can go mask-free on campuses in low-risk areas. That includes my area. So if you're on the campus after you check in, you can go mask-free. However, most of the students I see still wear the mask. And this includes me, by the way. If I'm teaching, I can go mask free if I'm teaching in the classroom. That's what I've been told. Uh, in practice, though, I think there's still a social stigma against going mask free everywhere you go. So technically, when you walk down the street, you're not required to wear a mask. If you go into a mall or a restaurant, they ask you to put the mask on. But still, everyone on the street's wearing a mask. So there's still very much a social pressure to wear the mask, and it's part of the culture here. It always has been. And and I'll say this, I do get a little frustrated when I see Americans just not wearing a mask. Now, you can get a mask. You could just wear a bandana, do something to cover up. Um, but it's not part of the American culture to do that. I hope things change. I hope perceptions of it change because it's a really good part of the. Even before the pandemic, people would wear masks when they get a little sniffle, just so they don't affect everyone. This was be in school, at work, at the mall, wherever. And I always admired that about Asian cultures, about the mask wearing thing. Um, I never understood it till I came here. Jamaica, you got a point, brother. Every time I try to tell them America's safe, another shooting happens, so I just give up. Well, there's shootings every day, and that's part of. I mean, I'm not a gun lover, but I do have guns. Um, I do believe in the right to own a gun as a law-abiding citizen. There's certain reasons why I do that, and I try to explain those reasons. I don't hunt. I don't carry it around. I'm not an open carry guy, and they're locked up in a safe. And every couple of months, my father and I will go shooting. And I'm also an old troop, and target practice, target shooting is kind of fun. I go to a range and do it. I don't go out into the desert. I don't go in the hills and do it. And I don't shoot beer cans. Yeah. But there's certain reasons why I believe it's important for our culture in America. And I try to explain that is what the reasons for that is to my students. But nonetheless, I mean, they found a gun in a car in Xiaolan here in Zhongshan like 3 years ago on a traffic stop. And it made all the headlines. I mean, everyone was talking about it. Everyone's, oh my God, they found a gun in the trunk of a car here. And I was like, so? I have friends who sleep with guns under their pillows. My brother wears a gun every day. It's to me it's normal, but to them, guns are very, very dangerous, and it's a big cultural difference between China and America. And I try to explain that it's not as dangerous as people think in America. So, it's just fine. You're going to be just fine. You're going to attend Edinburgh College, then Edinburgh College of Art. Very cool, Nicholas. What are you going to study? What kind of art are you going to study, dude? Oh. All right, I'll talk to her later. Okay, next one. Fees waived for enterprises participating in the 127th Canton Fair. So the Canton Fair is coming up in June, mid-June, June 15th. It's about a month from now. I do plan on going to this. I hope I have the time. I've never been to the Canton Fair before. No foreigners are going to be there except for the foreigners here in town. And they're going to be setting up these VR booths, these virtual reality booths. And so most of this Canton Fair thing this year seems like it's going to be for domestic consumption only. And for the foreigners that are lucky enough to still be here, the traders that never left China and they're still, especially in Guangzhou. But I think it'll be a very interesting experience, especially given the restrictions for this year. And it's only about an hour's drive north of me. Oh, yeah, it's June 15th to June 24th. So all I have to do is register, and participation fees will be waived across the board, applying to all enterprises except optional added value services such as advertising. Is hoped the measure will help enterprises safeguard jobs. So it's free, and it's only an hour away. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you guys would be interested in seeing that, I think it'd be very good. Oh, so Nicholas, you're going to do film and music production. I'm jealous, man. Cinemas and other public places to reopen. This is big news. This started on Friday, the 9th. At least here in Guangdong, they announced that many of the restrictions were going to be dropped over the weekend. So that means bars are going to be allowed to reopen, and I know a couple of the bars here in town have, you still have to like make a reservation. You have to reserve a table ahead of time, but it's not just like, hey, the doors are open, let's go get hammered. No, it's not like that. I know many of the smaller bars in town have been open for a couple weeks, kind of under the radar, but the movie theaters opening up is a great sign. Then they have to meet certain health guidelines, and that's unsure because the releases. They tried to do this a couple weeks ago in northern China, but there are no new releases, so they were all showing movies from like a year ago, so nobody went, and they just closed down again because they weren't making any money. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. If the studios haven't been producing films and they don't have any, they have very few to release. How's this going to affect the movie industry? In addition, those movies that were planning on being released, the big blockbuster Hollywood movies that were going to come out here in China, I'm talking, the James Bond movie, the Wonder Woman. What else am I missing? There were a number. Those were the two that come to my head first. Mulan, the Disney Mulan. All of these movies that were put off, will they be released in China first before the rest of the world? Ooh, that'll be very interesting. They did that. If you look at my channel, my number one video is Aquaman review. And the reason why that is because when Aquaman came out, it came out in China 2 weeks before it came out in America. And all of the reviewers, the professional movie reviewers, were not allowed to release their reviews until a week before it came out. So I was one of the first ones in the whole world to see the movie and be able to release a review on YouTube. I got a 1 week jump on pretty much the whole world, and everyone watched my review. I'm not a professional reviewer. I didn't sign any paperwork. I'm just a vlogger who lived in China, went and saw an open release movie and vlogged about it. And that's what happened. Is that going to happen again with all of these new movies? It'll be very interesting to see. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm very excited about this. The guidelines were released on a website. Here it is. Guidelines were issued. National Library announced the reopening on May 12th. People must reserve ahead of time, and only 1,200 people were allowed in the day. That's for the National Library of China. Okay. Trying to get through all this as fast as I can, guys. So, this is very interesting. This is here in Guangdong. Talk to you about that in a second, Nicholas. This is here in Guangdong, and this is a bridge that connects the west side of the Pearl River Delta to the east side of Pearl River Delta in Dongguan. I have driven on this bridge. I mentioned this bridge in my real estate video very recently, and we had some high winds the other day. And let me show you. I got a video of it, I think. I thought I had a video of it. I thought I had a video of it. Anyways, it was swaying like this. You can see in this photo, it was swaying like this. It was really scary. They closed it down. It's still closed to right now. It hasn't reopened. And this is a huge link between the two sides of the Pearl River Delta. It's nuts. Bad vibration. Man, the clip is not loading, guys, and I don't know why. It should. But if you just search it, the human bridge in Guangdong, the human bridge in Guangdong province, you can see it swaying. It looks like it's going to collapse. And this is a gigantic bridge. It's like one of the biggest bridges in Guangdong. Oh, very, very cool. So they've ordered an inspection of all the bridges and freeways because of this. And if, especially in my area, there are bridges everywhere because there's so many different canals and channels for the maritime traffic. So I think this bridge is still closed to this day. Nicholas says Seoul officials ordered all bars and nightclubs closed after many as 40 new COVID were linked to them. I think they need to slowly open bars and clubs in China. Maybe. South Korea had a different response than China does, and South Korea is still open. They're still open for business everywhere. They haven't closed the borders. In China, it's pretty much sealed off. You can't get in. You can't get in, and those who are in are not leaving because they can't come back. So China has essentially isolated themselves. The only ones that are coming back now are overseas students, and they are almost immediately sent straight to quarantine and are tested like at the airport. I mean, the international arrivals, all the ports of entry are barricaded up, and to get through that is not an easy task. And that's at all the borders. Most of the borders are closed. There's only a few ports of entry that are still open. So China's locked down and completely isolated. There's a few hot spots here and there, but they're addressing it because they test and they quarantine and they jump on it right away. Seoul never really closed down. They just did massive amount of testing and a massive amount of what do you call it, case tracing or whatever. But yeah, I did see that there was a bar open. So the bar that's going to open now, they're going to have a big party. You can't just walk in. You have to reserve a table, and so it's not like going to be a packed bar. People mingling and kind of getting in. That's why bars are so much fun because they're full of people, right? No, here you have to reserve a table. So it's more like a restaurant seating. You're not going to be able to go up to the bar and order a beer. And that's what it's going to be like in all of the bars. My favorite bar is it's a cocktail lounge. It's kind of British in style. It's got teak wood and guys wear bow ties. It's a little high class, a little quieter. Nobody smokes in there. It's my kind of thing. And in order for me to go to that bar, which I do plan on this week, by the way, meeting some friends on Thursday, we have to reserve a table ahead of time. We can't just show up and say, "Hey, we'd like a drink." So the rules are still in place for this. There are, again, some smaller bars here in town that have been operating for a couple weeks now, kind of under the radar. I remember someone told me that one night the cops came and shut it all down. Like the next night they were open again. So I haven't been to those bars. So. Corey says, Metten in Changsha somehow got 2 of their foreign teachers allowed to come back 2 weeks ago. Really? Interesting. I'll have to find out about that. Again, I still have great relationship with the folks at Metten. I just got a word from a friend of mine who was teaching at Metten here in Zhongshan. He won't be coming back because he can't. He's stuck in Georgia. Georgia, the country, not the state. So, interesting. I do know that there are foreigners that are being allowed to come back, but you have to have special permission. It's on a case by case basis. I don't know how they were able to get that done. I'll have to inquire about that. Because if they're allowing teachers to come back into the country on new visas, then maybe foreigners aren't. I'll have to follow up with you on that one, Corey. Let me find out more information about that. I'll research it this week. Yeah, Nicholas says, seems a good idea having to book for this party because they can trace where guests have been, maybe. Yes, every restaurant I go to, every coffee shop I go to, I have to fill out my name, my phone number, the time. They take my temperature and what temperature I am. Every time I leave the campus, I do it. And every time I come back from the campus, I do it. To go to the mall, I'm getting my temperature checked 3 times. I mean, they've got sheets every mall. Some security guards just check your temperature and you go right in. Other security guards, you have to scan the app and show your health certificate and fill out the paperwork. When I go play badminton, I have to sign and all that kind of stuff. So it's the gym is the same thing. I have to make a reservation ahead of time. So there's additional hoops to jump in, but we can live our lives. You just have to jump through the hoops a little bit. It seems to be getting better and better every week. I mean, it's becoming the new normal here. I mean, everywhere I go, I just kind of hold out my hand, check my temperature. Where do I sign my name? Right there. Okay. Here's my health code. Okay, thanks. And it's just normal. It's life here now. I'm looking forward to the days where I don't have to wear a mask anymore. I really am. Those masks, especially now that it's hot, gets really hot. Okay. All right, next one. China vows to ban notorious copycat architectures. This is something that's been in the news for many years. I thought it was interesting. China announced to ban the notorious copycat architectures across the country, which has garnered great appreciation from the public. The government will strictly prohibit plagiarizing, imitating, and copycatting designs of other buildings, according to a notice jointly released by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Renewal. Everything's connected again. I don't know if anybody's watching me. I cannot chat with you. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to finish off and then call it a night. Again, if you have any questions or comments about the live stream, put it down. Remember, when I do this live from China, from mainland China, the connection can get cut off. And I have no idea when it gets cut off, why it gets cut off, and when I can come back. And I apologize to all of you for for that. A lot of news stories that after I review the live stream after this, I will go back and I will check out, okay, what stories were not covered, and I'll include them in another live stream later this week. Again, I'm trying to make these live streams less than an hour because that seems to be the magic time. 45 minutes to an hour is when I get cut off, and that it only happens here at the college. If I do live streams from the coffee shop, it doesn't cut out. So it's just here at the college that it does that to me. And again, I thank you everybody for your patience with that. Anyways, this little girl, 7-year-old first grade student in Hubei, has become very famous. You see her all over the news right now because she studies underneath this little wet market table for her family. This is her teacher. She's just this cute little girl who just studies in a wet market. I mean, you talk about conditions, and this isn't even the worst of it. Many students have very, very bad study conditions at home. But I'm very impressed with this little girl, as everyone is. She says, sometimes I bump my head when I look up and it hurts, the little girl shared. But what's been harder to cope with is not being able to go out and play with my friends, where she studies there. She has become very famous here in China. It's impressive. It really is. She says, I can't wait to go back to school and see my friends again so we can study and play together. Okay. Okay. Well, that's it from me. I want to wish everyone a thank you for sharing. Again, I cannot see your chat. It's been disconnected. I apologize for that. Couple of things real quick. Let's do this. Just to remind you, if you want to support me, you can support me on my webpage here. You can share my videos. You can just click on these affiliate links and I'll get a little bit of cash. You can contact me. You can support me on Patreon, or you can buy me a coffee. Or you can just send me a nice little hello. That's all I really need. Again, I don't do this for the money, but the money situation here for me has been tightened up quite a bit. And, to travel and to stay in hotels and provide the content that I do costs money. And I've haven't had very much money to do that lately. So any support that you can give me goes direct right back into this channel in the form of equipment. I need to buy a new camera, or a coffee while I edit my videos. So it's definitely not something that I chase women around with. Okay, but if you see down here, I'm gonna give a shout out one more time to my mother. Down there in the corner, right over there, is my beautiful mother, and I wish her a very happy Mother's Day. I'm going to give her a call. It's after midnight here now, so I'm going to give her a call. She's in Southern California. She's been feeling under the weather lately, so I hope that she is feeling better. And to all your mothers out there, happy Mother's Day from China. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.